Sorry. Hello everyone. We are live as promised, and I've got Hamad here with me to do the questions. We received all the questions that were sent in the question box, and I have Hamad here to answer as many of them as he can.
Yeah, thanks Sidra for arranging that. We have got hundreds of questions. I cannot possibly answer those, and I'm definitely not an expert anyway. There's a big majority, almost 50% of those are around coriander, so I'll cover that first. Then what I'll do that there are a few common topics that have been asked repeatedly, like indoor planting, balcony planting, general tips and tricks, soil care, etc. I'll cover all of that, and then we'll try to cover as many other questions as possible today. So yeah, coriander seems to have made a lot of splash waves, many questions around that. If you are in Australia, I have sad news for you. The window to plant coriander for this year has passed already. The good time to plant coriander is autumn, and it's generally true for all kind of plants that if you want to grow from seeds, generally the peak summer or peak
Light
winter.
is interrupting your picture.
You can move it a bit.
Okay. Oh, move. Thank you for telling us that. Okay. Is that
Alright.
better?
Okay. I look better, I think so. So, start from autumn for any winter vegetables. If you want to grow from seeds, I got so many questions around coriander where people saying that it has bolted, it has flowered very soon, or it has burned by sun. Most likely reason for that is that you have either planted it in summer, or by the time it has grown, the summer has arrived, or it was just the wrong time of the year. So you cannot start corianders from seedlings. You have to start from seeds, and early autumn is the best. Middle of the autumn is also fine. The latest you can do is the early winters. It takes about 3 weeks, to me at least, it took 3 weeks to sprout. So we started our corianders in April, early April, and in about 3 weeks they sprouted. We had some false starts as well. So my first batch of corianders, when it came up, most of those were eaten by bugs. Then I had to do the spray. The second batch, which I planted a week later from the first batch, that was more successful. So there are a few tips from my side. I hope those work for you as well. And if you are in the northern hemisphere somewhere, say Pakistan or Dubai, this is actually a good time to start planting coriander. Is coming now. What you can do is the typical spacing between those seeds. They recommend 8 to 12 inches. I actually planted it much closer, so one seed about every 2 inches or so, just to increase my chances of success. And once they grew up, once they sprouted, I just hit it up. So I cut few of those to keep the space of 8 inches. So our general coriander plant that you see, so that should we show it to them?
Okay, let's go over there.
Yeah.
If I can flip it, I'll follow you.
Alright.
I'm the cameraman today. And it is really windy today as well.
It's super windy, a bit uncomfortable, so we may not spend a long time here. So these are actually 3 plants. Originally I planted, I think, 12, 15 seeds or so, out of which 80% roughly sprouted. So you have to live with this fact that 20-30% of your seeds will never sprout. So there were about 6 or 7 plants that actually came out of the soil, and of those I left 3 of them here. So these are actually 3 different plants, but they have grown so big that it looks like one big plant. So you have to, once your plant has grown up, you need to keep about 8 to 10 inches roughly, or maybe 12 inches of distance between them, so they get ample space to grow. Other thing in terms of timing is that this is now about 4 months old. So we started in April, 4.5 months now. We are almost at the end of August. So this is how it looks like when it has grown that much. But we started using it in just 2 months. Somewhere around June, we were able to start using this coriander in our food. And that's one more tip. The reason it has grown so well, one of the reasons, is that we more you cut it, the better it grow, and it takes more time to flower if it is being used and cut. If you don't cut it at all, it will flower sooner. And my hope is that it will probably grow for another month or two. By the time we reach summers, which would be late October, the plant will bolt. So we understand the fact that we can't grow it in summers. It's a winter veggie and will only grow in winter. So you have to respect the seasons in which veggies grow. There are large companies that can arrange greenhouses and special temperatures, and they can grow things year round. But most of the veggies in general would grow according to season. So whatever you are planning to grow, check on the internet that in your area what's the best one to grow. Generally on the east coast of Australia, all these green leaf veggies like coriander, broccoli, spinach, beetroot. Well, beetroot can be grown in other months as well, but yeah, these can only be grown in winters. Lettuce included as well.
Hamad, there is a question. It says, does coriander need direct sunlight?
It needs sunlight of at least 6 hours in a day, like most veggies. A little bit of shade is fine. So if it does not get sunlight for the whole day, maybe like as you can see, it's been 4 o'clock and sunlight is gone from there, that's fine. If it gets only afternoon sunlight, that's not good. So preferably it should be at a place where it gets morning sun, and then if it gets afternoon sun as well, that's okay. But it can live without afternoon sun. So that was a good question in a sense that your positioning matters a lot. Whatever you are planting, I think, except for very few veggies, like maybe you would need at least 6 hours of sunlight. So try and see in your gardens or in your home that where do you get this much sunlight throughout the day, and only try to plant over there.
Yes, and another question is, can we grow coriander in pots?
Yes, the ground, the big ground like that or the garden bed is ideal, but you can grow in pots. What you need to ensure that the pot is big enough, at least 12 inches wide, 16 inches long, and that's the bare minimum.
We have one in the pot over there, didn't we?
Yeah, it hasn't grown well. Let's go over there. I'll show that as well. So we have probably more failures than successes. So maybe I should show those as well. This one is not a good growth. It was planted about the same time as these, but the difference is that when I said that I planted more plants here, I just took one of those and transplanted that plant over here. This does not work for corianders. It works fine for other plants like chilies and tomatoes work okay if you grow from seed and transplant it. For corianders, it does not work at all. So wherever you have planted, make sure it's the final position of the plant.
Okay. Yeah, we have answered some of the questions. Someone has asked, Amina is asking, would you recommend growing coriander from seeds or seedlings?
Definitely seeds. It just does not work from seedlings.
Yes.
If you go to Bunnings, you will actually find they actually sell a lot of plants which should only be grown from seeds, and they still sell it, like spinach, for example, coriander. These are best grown from seeds. Do not try from seedlings. It's actually much easier to grow from seeds.
Yeah, okay. And someone had asked about the garden beds as well, the ones that we are using.
Yeah. So these the four in different colors, these are from Birdies. These are a very reputable company called Birdies. These are far more expensive than you typically get. Like for example, we got the other ones. These are from Aldi. We got these for $20 each, and this is $170 each. So big difference in price.
Yeah.
Even if you go to Bunnings, you could probably find garden beds like these for $40-50.
We can see the difference in quality as well.
Yeah, exactly. So we bought these in, I think, 2016.
Yeah.
So these are 4 years old and it's still doing very well. The color is still there. These were bought later, I think in 2018. So just 2 years old, and you can see here the color is gone. Quality is much worse over there. So if you can go with that, but maybe another tip, if you are a beginner, maybe right at the beginning, don't invest too much money in it. It could get pretty expensive pretty easily. You can spend hundreds of dollars on just soil for just these 4 planters, or you can go cheap. And sometimes, my experience says that sometimes less is more in case of gardening. So start with less, start cheap. Then if you feel that if you're not getting good results in some particular area, maybe then start to upgrade from there.
Or if you're getting good results and you think this is something you can carry on, then invest.
Carry on with that.
Yeah,
exactly.
okay.
Any more questions on coriander, or can we go on?
I think that's it about coriander. There's someone's asking about blueberries.
Oh, sure. The blueberries are different. The things we talked about earlier were veggies. These are fruits. It has to be treated like a fruit plant. This shrub is supposed to grow for about a meter, which is 3 feet. It's not as big now. This is 2 years old, and this is flowering, fruiting now. In fact, these have become fruit. It takes 2 years for blueberries to come up, so you need patience with that. It requires acidic soil. At least what I've seen here in Sydney, it could be quite expensive, like compared to the normal soil. I'll talk more about what fertilizers and soils and compost I use, but generally this acidic soil is more expensive than the normal one. This container we bought for about, I think, $10 from a flea market, but the soil inside costed me, I think, $50 or $60. And I put some special mulch as well, which is good for acidic soil. That also is somewhat costly. So it's, I mean, blueberries taste great. So it's a great plant in that sense, but it requires more care than extra plants. And the biggest challenge we have is that when they will ripe, birds will come and eat most of them.
So
so you need some kind of protection. Like people who are more serious around it, they put nets around it when it's fully ripe or when it's about to ripen. So you have to protect them from birds as well. They love it, these blueberries, as much as we do.
Yeah, and we can use nets to cover them.
Yeah,
we can use a net to cover them.
In most fruit plants, that's true for majority of fruit plants. The birds come and eat our lemons as well.
Yeah.
So whether you have lemons, oranges, blueberries, in most cases you need some kind of nets when the fruit is about to mature.
And a question about mint. Can mint be grown without much sunlight? Can we please grow it in a pot?
Mint is one of the easiest plants to grow. Yeah, there are many questions about indoor and balcony planting. You can grow mint. It's actually better to grow mint in pots than in ground. If you grow it in ground, it will take over your other plants. It's very aggressive kind of plant. And it does require sun. It will not grow in shade, but it could tolerate shade, which means that if you're not getting full 6 hours of sunlight, but say 4 hours, that will still do fine for mint. So yeah, it grows well in pots. It could be grown indoors, inside the house, as long as it's getting the sunlight through the balcony or for somewhere else. It would do fine. Mint is really easy. So for beginner gardeners, I would recommend go by mint.
Yeah, Haya, we've answered the question that blueberry requires acidic soil, and she says she's got a small plant. It's producing flower now, but she just put it in normal soil.
Well, they would thrive more in acidic soil, definitely. They would not grow as good in the normal soil.
Okay.
What could have happened that your soil may be a little bit acidic already, though chances are low. I'm not sure about what your place is. Like there are places in Australia where you can go and get your soil tested, and they will exactly tell you how much more acidic or basic you need to make your soil for a particular plant for a small fee.
And our mint is over there, right? It's not growing that much because it's winter.
Exactly, yeah. So mint would grow better starting from spring. So really spring and summers, that's where it grows fast. But the best thing for us is that we are not maintaining it. We don't do anything at all. We don't even water that. It's just surviving on the rainwater. Whenever it rains, it just survives on that. And there is some mint growing.
Okay. Thank you, Amna. Tell Hamad his garden is goals. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
And my mom is also here. She's also very happy to see you. And yeah, we've talked about coriander. Sabah, you can check that out. He's just been talking about coriander for the past couple of minutes. What can we plant in this season? And there's one more. It says how to turn green tomatoes red.
Sure. What to plant it this season? If you are in Australia, spring is there. Good news. Spring is the best time to grow veggies. The easiest I would recommend is kale. Let's go towards the kale. If you like kale, I think just go today, tomorrow, as soon as possible. Don't delay. Buy some seedlings from Bunnings. This is one of the very, very easy thing to grow. So this I think I bought last month as a small seedlings. They have grown a little bit, but in winters growing a little bit is fine. By the time we'll reach the mid-spring, these will grow like kids, basically. How tall your kids grow. So in hopefully by December we will have a full size kale plant. So that's one of the things you can grow easily. But if you are more into veggies, not just the leaves, then I would recommend chilies. Very easy to grow in summers. Eggplants, very easy to grow. Tomatoes as well. Tomatoes, I have more luck with the cherry tomatoes. The smaller tomatoes can grow more easily, but normal full-size tomatoes can also be grown. If you'd like, this is the good time to start putting in seeds. If you put seeds now, by the Christmas time you would have a full-size plant. If you are starting a month late from now, say end of September, I think go with the seedlings then directly. It's easier to grow. I would personally go with tomato seedlings. I used to go with seeds. It's lots of fun, but it's also a lot of hard work. You enjoy it.
Remember when we planted out of a tomato? That was my baby. Yeah,
that's another good tip. The tomatoes you are buying from the market.
Once we had a tomato that I had used and I left it out, and the top part got dry. So instead of wasting that, I sliced that part off and put it in a very small pot actually on the kitchen window, and it started sprouting, and it gave I think 2 or 3 seedlings, and then we thinned it out and Hamad planted it outdoors, and by summer it was as tall as me. Remember that one when I had gone to Pakistan?
Yeah, that was one of the.
That was my baby. That was first planting. Yeah, that was really special for us.
I see a question here. Amina Samreen saying her plant gave just 2 tomatoes. Yeah, it probably didn't grow as good as it should. For a normal size tomatoes, I would expect about 1.5 to 2 kilo tomatoes from a single plant. So that would mean, I don't know, maybe about a dozen or so tomatoes. For cherry tomatoes, you should get hundreds of tomatoes from a single plant. So I think tomatoes require more fertilization than these green leaves veggies. These requires very little fertilizer. Coriander, I did not fertilize at all, but tomatoes would require regular fertilization. I use a liquid fertilizer, give them in light quantity about every second week. So that could be one reason. The other could be the spacing. So a tomato ideally should have nothing else planted around it for about 2 feet across, or roughly 1 meter. So in a bed like this, of this size, I would probably put 2 tomato plants, not more than that.
And something to stop caterpillars?
Oh, use a pest. Use a pest spray, basically. Lots of our plants get eaten by them as well. We are annoyed of them as much as you.
Yeah, I think I can show here as well. That's our spinach, and that's been eaten by a very hungry caterpillar. So that happens to us a lot as well.
Yeah, but you can use a pest spray. I use that.
You can show the fertilizer you use and the pest spray if we have them.
I got some,
Yeah, so.
You can talk about the things that we grew indoor.
Yes. So those were best time to grow. You can answer from there as well. What is the best time to grow tomatoes in Pakistan? Now is the best.
In Australia it's now. In Pakistan you have to wait for spring.
Yeah, you'll have to wait for spring for Pakistan. This is the time for Australia because our weather is totally opposite. We are approaching spring now, so we can grow them, but in Pakistan it's close to winter. So if you plant tomatoes now, it would be harder to grow them because the soil gets a lot of frost. Hey, do you use the same fertilizer for all plants?
No, definitely not. So the green leaf veggies, those winter veggies, they generally I prefer their fertilizers which has higher nitrogen content. So I got this one packet. Let me see if it mentions its NPK.
So there's this one. I wish Hamad bhai had a gardening blog. Hamad has a blog, but he just shares what he has grown, not the tips and stuff.
Yeah, I don't run the blog. Sidra has just got me to this.
I've just got him too. I just begged him, please.
Normally when you buy fertilizer, you will see it will always mention N, P and K values in that. N is for nitrogen. Just remember, let's not get too scientific on that.
Let's focus better.
This thing? Yeah, I won't get too technical on that. The simple thing is N is for nitrogen, which is think of that as a greenery. any vegetables where you want more leaves, like say coriander, spinach, etc., they would appreciate higher nitrogen content. But the fruiting veggies like tomatoes, in the initial days, yes, high nitrogen, but once they are about to fruit, they will need more of a potassium or in some cases phosphorus as well. So I use different fertilizers. But my general tip again is, I'm not experts on gardening. I try the cheapest first. I go to Bunnings, see what is the cheapest. The soil I use, it's the compost. I think that's also one of the important thing. Your soil must be really good, but not good really don't mean expensive. So I just use a compost. It's about $4 for a 25 liters bag. It's the cheapest compost at Bunnings. So all these garden beds that you're seeing here, initially I bought a big. Basically, we ordered a truck to deliver soil, but since then we are refreshing these beds using that compost from Bunnings. It has worked very well for me. So in terms of soil, that's the best. In terms of fertilizer, again, I usually go for the cheaper versions and try to go a little less than what's recommended, just to be on the safe side. Fertilizer is one of the things that it has to be balanced. If you're giving it too less, that's bad, but if you're giving it too much, that will also destroy your plant and probably they will not fruit as much as you like.
Yeah, okay, Amad, this should be a weekly segment. Amad, should do it more often.
Thank you. What I might do though, that maybe later in few months I do a summer garden tour or something, because this is mostly winter garden.
Or have you studied something related to gardening or just your own experience?
Here in Sydney, I did took some classes for free. So they do those workshops. Probably if you're in Sydney or in Australia, your council would be arranging those as well. So I took some classes on gardening. Those were helpful. Those were good. But I think most of my learning is from YouTube. So what I do usually, whatever I want to plant, let's say if I want to plant carrots, I would just go to YouTube, say how to plant carrots, watch a couple of videos, but I will not spend too much time on it as well. Just 2-3 videos is fine, and then do something practical about it. You learn more by doing than just watching videos.
And Amina, for caterpillars and slugs, we do try and scatter our eggshells, yeah?
I put my eggshells every day just because I don't like to get these wasted, but I'm not sure if they're actually working. Like, we still get slugs and pests even despite putting all those eggshells. So yeah, you would need to use a spray, I guess.
Yeah, those are the eggshells in there, the remains. Some over there. So
Some
yeah.
over there as well.
Yeah, so as you can see, he has made a circle around the kale. Yeah. And yeah, so we do that. He uses his eggshells in the soil. What is the best time to grow tomatoes and green chili? So Mera, he just said tomato. If you're in Sydney, Australia, it's the best time to load this.
I'll just say it again. So tomatoes, this is a good time to put seeds. It's also fine to bring seedlings now from Bunnings. If you could wait for a week, that's even better. Like, let's wait for the official spring to start. The thing with tomatoes is, if by any chance if we get too cold night right now, like in Melbourne for example, you could get those colder nights even in September, your plant will survive, but it will impact its growth. So wait for the time when you are sure that your temperature even at nights would stay around 9 or 10 degrees. That would be the ideal time to bring in the seedlings. And for seeds, it's fine. You can put seeds in the small pots indoors. It will take 2 to 3 weeks for them to sprout and grow a little bit, and maybe by the end of September, your seedlings would be ready. Then you can bring it outdoors and plant. That's same for tomatoes and chilies, but tomatoes are much easier to grow from seeds. If you're a beginner for chilies, I would say go with seedlings. The smaller chilies like Thai chilies, it's called bird eye. These are much easier to grow, especially in pots. So if you want to grow indoors or in your balcony or in pots, small chili plants will grow much easier. You need to water them more often, but they grow much easier. If you want somewhat bigger size chilies, like Sidra said, she needs desi chilies. So those are here. They prefer a little bit bigger spot than a small one.
These are the chilies over here.
Same thing for capsicums as well. It's a good time to start with capsicum seedlings.
Okay, so tips on planting a lemon tree. Should we continue to grow it in a pot or put it in ground soil?
Oh,
Let's get out of the wind.
Yes, we are.
Oh my god, I'm freezing.
Yeah, we did not plant lemon tree. It was our previous homeowner who did a very good job. We are just reaping the fruit
Of his labor.
Yeah, but I think lemon, what I've seen at my friend's house, it's easier to grow in pots. One of the fruits that fruit well in the pots. If I would have been in your place, what I would have done is to keep lemon tree in the pot and use my ground soil for some other fruit like guava or something which cannot be grown in pots. Yeah,
Spring onion advice, please. Best time to grow and how?
you are the expert, so
I have no idea. I just took a spring onion and put it in the ground.
yeah. For us,
Started
it has grown year round. It is one of those veggies that has grown in winters and in summers. We have done it twice now. What we did, Sidra brought it in, and I just planted in the soil, and that's it.
Yeah, and
It
this
just
is
grows by itself.
actually we got the spring onion from Woolworths. We just bought spring onion, and I have done this in water as well. Just take your spring onion and put it in a jar of water. Put it on your windowsill if it's getting light, and it continues growing. You snip off the top part, and the green part keeps growing. So you change the water once in a while. But then when we had this space, the bunch of spring onion that I bought from Woolworths, I used the green part, and the rest we planted in the soil, and it has continued to grow. And I think we planted this last year.
That was, I think, more than a year. 2 years
Okay,
now,
yeah,
probably.
it's been more than a year, 2 years that this has been growing. That's probably why they are so fat, because it's an old fruit now. So yeah, and they continue to grow. I snip off. I just used this part today, so I just snip it off, and then it'll start growing back again. So yeah, that's the spring onion. Coriander, Kuratulen coriander has been covered a lot in detail. You can go back and watch the session. I'll save it in my on my IGTV. Okay, best and easy to fruits to grow in winters.
Yeah, most fruits they grow. There's lemons fruit in winter. Lemons would grow in winters as well. But you need to keep in mind that fruits would take 3 to 4 years mostly. Like blueberry is a small shrub, and that also takes 2 years. These pomegranates over there, it's been 4 years since it planted, and it's still it doesn't fruit at the full size. Guava 3 years, and it's so small. I think it will take around another 3 to 4 years. So it has to be a long-term plan. If you are prepared to invest 5-6 years, then go for fruiting trees. There are quite a few fruits that will grow fine in winters. Pomegranates, most of the fruits that require acidic soil would grow well, would fruit well in winters.
Okay, please tell about aloe vera growth.
We don't do anything for aloe vera.
I know we're tired of our aloe vera.
Yeah, go to the shop, buy an aloe vera, plant it, and for us at least, it has again taken care of itself. It's one of the most ignored area of our house. It's behind the cubby house, so we actually never come over there. I don't come over there. It survives on rain, and it was a small baby, maybe 1/4 of it 4 years ago, and it's just growing by its own. Yeah.
And this part doesn't get a lot of sunlight.
Yeah.
Yes.
Aloe vera is kind of a succulent. Succulents are very easy to grow. They don't require much water or much care. And typically they can tolerate much more heat or cold weather compared to ordinary veggies.
Why does aloe vera get yellow?
This could mean two things: underwatering or overwatering. In our case, it's probably underwatering, I think.
Yeah, that's some more of our aloe vera over here, and then
This mint as well.
Oh,
So
yeah, that's
again,
the
we are not taking care of this mint. It just grows by itself, almost. So this was bought 2 years ago, and it has given actually. There are many babies of that. It was one plant, and now you can see many more smaller plants have come up by itself.
and it's in a pot over here.
Yeah. So that pot is about 12 inches. It's square pot, and that's good enough size for mints.
Do you have any questions on your sheet that we haven't answered yet?
Let me have a look.
How to take care of peace lily? It's such a fragile plant. Peace lily, I think, is one of the easiest plant to take care of. When we bought our peace lily, the person at the nursery said to us that this is the easiest plant that you can take care of, because it literally tells you when to water it. When the leaves get droopy, that is the only time that you water it. And apart from that, it doesn't need anything else. It needs indirect sunlight. It shouldn't get too much harsh sunlight, so keep it opposite a window a little bit further away so it doesn't get burnt. But basically what I do is our peace lily hasn't flowered, it hasn't given a flower, but we've had it now for 2 years and it's constantly growing, and that's what I do. Whenever I see that the leaves are wilted, that is when I water it. I think this is...
Yeah. Bushra has a good point.
Bushra has a good point. She's
Yeah,
killing
just-
our phone.
Just fallen by listening to her name.
Okay.
Yeah, so about the aloe veras is that the heat could also turn them into yellow. That's right.
Can you
So
come closer? You're not in the
most
camera.
of these succulents, I said they could tolerate heat, but the sun in Australia could be quite brutal, especially the afternoon sun. So if your plants, any plant, most of them, if they are not native Australian plants, and if they are getting sun between 12 to 2, when sun is directly on the sky, in many cases it could ruin them. So that's true for aloe vera and many other succulents. There have been a few questions on the flowers. I'm not a flower expert, unfortunately. What I would say that try to grow a plant or two of flowers in your garden if you can. It's very beneficial for your veggies as well. Like when we had the zinnia flower plant, we noticed a lot more butterflies and bees coming to the garden, and that helps with your pollination. So in summers you would be growing cucumbers, for example, that really gets help. If there are more bees in your garden, that can help with pollination. If you are in Australia, if you want to do flowers, I would say don't go with the spring flowers like tulips. They would survive 4 to 6 weeks. They look very beautiful, but they would die by end of October. If you go with summer flowers like marigold, petunia, there's one called gerbera. Maybe I'll post those pictures sometime. So these could survive about 6 months, almost until the autumn if you plant them now. So they gives you much longer time, and your garden will look more beautiful.
Info about curry leaves. We've never planted curry
No,
leaves.
we haven't.
Yeah,
No idea.
sorry, we've never done that. Yeah, although we should, but I don't know why we just haven't. Yeah. So, how do I save my tomato plant from dying? It's gonna die one day. We all die.
Yeah, it depends on the reason why it's dying. Whether it could be the end of season over there, or it could be that it could be some kind of disease. If it's been affected by disease, you can post a picture on the internet. People would tell you what kind of disease is that. But in most cases, it's actually better to take that plant out. Very hard to revive tomato plants if it's been affected by some kind of virus. It will actually ruin your soil as well. That soil will not be plantable for other plants for next 2 to 3 years. So better to take that plant out earlier than later.
I think those are most of the questions. Yep.
Yeah, there's one
How
for
to grow
potatoes.
potatoes? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. Potatoes are fun. Kids love it. The good time to put potatoes is that what you need to do is to cut your potatoes, say in half if they are normal big size potatoes. Don't plant them for a couple of weeks. Actually, don't cut them first. Just wait for the eyes on the on those potatoes to grow. So if you leave your potatoes not in direct sunlight, like where they get a little bit of sunlight, you'll see that they'll start growing eyes in 2-3 weeks time. At that point, cut them into half, put it into soil. In Sydney, the best time to do that is May, June time, like winters. In winters, you put it, and then once the plant grows, keep putting soil on top of the plant. So you need to keep potatoes underground. It will do okay if you don't do that, but it will give you more potatoes if you keep the whole plant underground. And around October, November time, your plant would be ready. Like all of the leaves would die, and at that time you dig the ground and you will get lots of potatoes.
Yeah. What is Hamad Bhai's blog name?
Oh, my Instagram handle is relaxed_gram. Yeah, so or you could post it.
Yeah,
somewhere,
I do. I'll tag him at the end. Okay. My money plant leaves are turning yellow and the leaves keep falling. What could be the reason? Yeah, is it in soil or do you have it in water? I think even money plant is one of those plants that just lives on its own. Ours has been living in water. We don't even put it in soil. Tomato plants have tiny little tomatoes on it, but the leaves are turning brown. Should I repot it because it's growing in a big pot?
Yeah, if your tomato plant is say if it has got 16 inches pot, probably the size is okay for that plant. You can try with repotting it, but if the leaves are turning brown, that's most not likely the spacing issue. It's either the watering issue, or maybe it's deficient in terms of nutrients. Try fertilizing it and see how it goes.
Is your spinach plant from seed?
Yes, you will not grow good spinach plant from seedling. So always start from seed. It's very similar to growing in coriander. It grows in winters. The best time to put seeds in is in autumn. And yeah, don't transplant it either. Just put the seeds. Keep about 8 inches distance. I saw some videos on YouTube where they were not keeping any distance. That seems to be okay as well. So in my spinach plants, I put seeds about only 1 inch apart and plenty of seeds, 20-30 seeds at one place, and it seems to have grown very well.
Yeah. Okay. Someone said, please show your potting mix.
I use only compost for even my potting mix needs. I don't use potting mix. The compost I mentioned, I actually don't know the name. It's probably called Rich Grow from Rich Grow Company. But you can remember it by, if you go to the Bunnings, this is the cheapest compost, $3.95 per bag. It's compost. It's not a soil. It's not potting mix. It's called compost.
Yeah, just go to Bunnings. Everything that we use is the cheapest one at Bunnings. We just go there. What's the cheapest? Yeah, we'll see. We'll save the live session. Don't worry. Okay. Yeah, that's it, I guess. Without making it too long. Which spinach seeds are good? Then there are several types.
Yeah, this year I tried. These are called English giant spinach. So that's the one that I have used. Last year we used baby spinach, which was okay. I'm not sure if it's because of the seeds or the planting technique or something else. There's a website called boondaiseeds.com. I order my seeds from there simply because I like the convenience of ordering from my bed. But I don't think it matters a lot. You can also buy the seeds from Bunnings or anywhere you find it.
Okay, someone is asking about garlic.
We haven't tried
We've
garlic.
never tried growing garlic, even though I think we should. Tell about chili plant. I think
we talked about it. Chilies are easier to grow in summers. Buy some seedlings from Bunnings. Plant
Blueberry
it now.
from seed or seedling.
Definitely seedling. You will have a very hard time to try from seed. It will take 4 or 5 years. So go with seedlings and you will have blueberries in 2 years.
Please mention the website again, the Bondi.
So it's maybe we should post the name somewhere. So it's
do
spelled as BOO. It's Bondi, but it has double O. So bondaiseeds.com.
Okay, I'll see if I can put it in the caption.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, yeah, that's it from us, and I think we'll wrap it up so that it doesn't get too long for the people who watch it later on IGTV. And all the questions who people have asked about the coriander and the chili, we talked about it at the start of the video, so you can please go back. I'll save this video on my IGTV. You can go back and watch it, so just to check what you have missed. And that's it from us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
How do I end it? Okay. Are you sure you want to end your live?